Some crimes destroy families, others destroy the truth, and some leave behind a survivor who wishes they hadn't lived at all. This is Dark Places. Libby Day was 7 years old when her family was murdered. One cold winter night, her mother and two sisters were brutally killed inside their farmhouse. Libby escaped through the dark, icy fields, barefoot and bleeding, becoming the sole survivor of a massacre that shocked the nation. The killer, according to the courts, was her older brother, Ben Day. Libby testified against him, and Ben was sentenced to life in prison. Now, more than 20 years later, Libby is no longer a child, and she is not a hero. She is bitter, broke, emotionally stunted, and barely functioning. The sympathy money ran out long ago. The attention faded, and the trauma never healed. Libby survives by selling pieces of her tragedy. She gives speeches, signs memorabilia, lets strangers stare at her scars, until a strange offer appears. A group called the Kill Club contacts her. They are obsessed with notorious crimes and believe Ben may be innocent. They want Libby to revisit the past and re-examine the night that destroyed her family. At first, Libby refuses, because reopening the past means facing memories she spent her entire life avoiding. But desperation wins, and Libby begins digging. What she uncovers is disturbing. Witness statements don't line up. Timelines shift. People remember things differently than she does. And slowly, Libby realizes that her memories, the ones that put her brother in prison, may not be as reliable as she believed. The story unfolds in two timelines. One follows Libby in the present, angry and suspicious, retracing steps through a town that never healed. The other takes us back to the day of the murders, following Ben and their mother, Patty, hour by hour. And the past is not what Libby remembers. Patty Day was not a saintly, helpless victim. She was exhausted, struggling with poverty, illness, and a failing farm. She loved her children, but she was drowning under responsibility and despair. Ben, meanwhile, was not a violent monster. He was a confused teenager caught in dangerous friendships, dabbling in satanic imagery at a time when fear ruled small-town America. He was careless, rebellious, and desperate to belong. As Libby revisits old witnesses, she uncovers lies layered on top of lies, a neighbor with secrets, a girlfriend who withheld the truth, a town that wanted a villain more than it wanted answers. And then there's Libby herself. She begins to question her own testimony. What did she really see that night? What did she hear? What did she assume? Because the more Libby digs, the more she realizes the case against Ben relied heavily on her childhood memory, a memory formed under terror, confusion, and manipulation. As the truth inches closer, Libby discovers something far worse than a wrongful conviction. She uncovers motive, desperation, and a kind of evil that doesn't come from rage, but from hopelessness. The final revelation reframes everything. The murders were not the result of satanic panic or teenage rebellion. They were the result of fear, poverty, illness, and choices made when every option felt impossible. The real killer was someone Libby never suspected, someone she trusted, someone who believed there was no other way out. And Ben? Ben took the fall because it was easier for everyone to believe in a monster than to face the truth. Libby's survival, once seen as a miracle, becomes something darker, a burden, because living means knowing she helped destroy an innocent life. The final act is not about justice in the traditional sense. There is no clean ending, no triumphant closure, only survival, guilt, and the painful weight of understanding what really happened. Dark Places is not just a crime thriller. It is a story about memory, trauma, and how the past is rewritten by fear and need. It explores how communities choose comforting lies over devastating truths and how children grow up carrying crimes they never meant to commit. It asks an unsettling question. What if the worst thing that ever happened to you was also built on a lie? And what do you do when uncovering the truth destroys what little peace you have left? If you enjoyed this dark summary and want more gripping book stories like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow and allows me to bring you more psychological thrillers, because some stories don't fade with time, they wait in the dark. until someone is brave enough to look back.